19 years ago, dimensional rifts shattered our skies, unleashing terrifying monsters upon the Earth. In response, humanity awakened. Those who gained power were known as players, while others quickly amassed unimaginable wealth by hunting beasts. Our main character was also a player, but his situation was entirely different. Every single day, Hee-sung broke his back, hauling bricks at a construction site. 3 years ago, his father fell critically ill, forcing him to drop out and become a manual laborer. Hee-sung thought he was doomed to live as an ordinary extra forever. But one fateful day, the system chose him. However, his awakening defied all logic. Hee-sung checked his status window and froze. He was merely level 1, whereas every other awakened player started at level 10. Compared to them, his base stats were absolute garbage. Cursing his terrible luck, Hee-sung opened the system's mysterious shop. He eagerly purchased a stat-boosting elixir, alongside a legendary skill book. But the moment the transaction completed, this blood-sucking system instantly robbed him of a 20% service fee. What an absolute scam. The very next day, Hee-sung visited the Hunter Association to register for his official ID. However, the receptionist gasped, claiming he looked far too old to be a newly awakened player. Glancing at a mirror, Hee-sung was absolutely horrified. His youthful face had morphed into a wrinkly middle-aged man. The horrifying truth hit him. The system's currency was his actual lifespan. Desperate, he frantically sold off his useless inventory. Thankfully, his youthful appearance returned, but this ruthless system still devoured a 20% commission. Hee-sung was practically seething with rage. Little did he know, his auctioned Earth items were being purchased by supreme beings across entirely different dimensions. In a mystical realm, a peerless beauty sat within a floating pavilion, marveling at the bizarre artifacts she had just acquired from Hee-sung's shop. Among them was a modern smartphone. Having never seen such technology, she was completely baffled at first. But soon, she unlocked the ancient art of taking the perfect selfie. Meanwhile, within the terrifying Shadow Castle, an all-powerful demon queen had also bought Hee-sung's mysterious items out of sheer curiosity. Right now, this fearsome overlord was fiercely glaring at a handheld gaming console. It operated entirely without mana. After figuring out the controls, the demon queen became hopelessly addicted. Whenever her character died, terrifying demonic rage shook the entire castle, just like a hardcore gamer. The next morning, a harsh system alarm completely shattered Hee-sung's peace. A customer complaint had arrived. The system warned that if his rating dropped too low, his merchant privileges would be severely penalized, or worse, permanently banned. Hee-sung noticed his entire inventory was completely sold out. At first, he thought nobody would buy his junk, but business was actually booming. Greedily, he decided to drastically increase his prices. However, his triumphant smirk faded instantly, when a devastating wave of furious reports flooded in. Out of 20 sold items, 14 were hit with 1-star reviews. The ultimate punishment arrived, a 3-day shop ban. Hee-sung desperately checked the logs. The Supreme Beauty had reported the smartphone for breaking after merely 6 hours. But it wasn't broken at all. The battery had simply died, and this overpowered being didn't know how to charge it. Every single complaint stemmed from their sheer technological ignorance. If he failed to resolve this within a week, he would face a brutal 3-month suspension. This disastrous ordeal made Hee-sung realize a shocking truth. His absurdly wealthy buyers were definitely not from Earth. They were ruling parallel dimensions completely devoid of modern technology. If he could exploit this technological gap, he would become insanely rich. His master plan was absolute genius. He would mass-purchase cheap Earth electronics, smuggle them through the dimensional marketplace, and rake in unimaginable profits. But reality hit him like a truck. Hee-sung was completely broke. His grand scheme of becoming an interdimensional tycoon crumbled instantly. During his agonizing ban, he had no choice but to return to hauling heavy cement bags at the construction site. Had there ever been a more pathetic awakened player? Finally, after 3 grueling days, the system restrictions vanished. Hee-sung nearly cried tears of joy. He swiftly resumed his dimensional auctions, dreaming of mountains of gold. To bring cash home, a brand new notification shattered his hopes. Another wave of catastrophic customer complaints. His grand reopening was cursed by clueless buyers. Every single item he had shipped out was mercilessly reported. Boom! Hee-sung was instantly slapped with a brutal 4-day suspension. The tragic reason? These almighty dimensional gods still had zero idea how to use modern gadgets. Suppressing his mounting despair, our tragic protagonist dragged his feet back to the dusty construction site for 4 long days. During his breaks, he fiercely analyzed the failed transactions. He painstakingly drafted detailed instruction manuals for the clueless otherworldly beings, teaching them the ways of Earth tech. For drained electronics, he shipped out bundles of standard AA batteries. By the 5th day, his relentless customer service successfully salvaged 6 doomed orders. Today, Hee-sung finally set out to secure his official player registration. To obtain a legitimate hunter ID, every single candidate was strictly required to survive. A grueling 3-week boot camp at the Elite Player Academy. If anyone failed the final trial, their dreams of legally entering the dungeons would be completely shattered. Awakening power didn't guarantee survival in the deadly abysses. Yet, among all the cocky rookies in his batch, Hee-sung's raw combat sense utterly dominated the leaderboards. Even the strictest proctors couldn't hide their absolute awe. Unsurprisingly, this triggered intense jealousy from arrogant noble brats who thought Hee-sung was just an attention-seeking fraud. Rather than fighting these pathetic losers, our hidden overpowered main character simply smirked and ignored them. 3 agonizing weeks flashed by. The training concluded, and Hee-sung proudly grasped his official Korean Hunter Association badge. Burning with unyielding determination to cure his bedridden father, Hee-sung instantly stormed the local market to gear up for his first raid. Hunter equipment prices were absolutely astronomical. Just renting a mediocre iron breastplate and a standard broadsword drained 700,000 won from his pockets. Furthermore, the greedy guild demanded 200,000 won per hour just to enter. Hee-sung locked his sights on the Horned Rabbit dungeon, a low-tier zone ranging from level 1 to 5. It was the ultimate grinding spot for rookies. Defying all common sense, Hee-sung boldly declared he would raid it entirely alone. The dungeon manager looked at him like he was a complete lunatic, because soloing a dungeon was practically a death sentence. A single momentary lapse in judgment could leave a hunter permanently crippled, or instantly torn to bloody shreds. Teaming up with a trustworthy party was the only logical way to survive. The manager scoffed, assuming this arrogant kid was blindly rushing into his own grave. Only the icy grip of death would snap him back to reality. Stepping through the ominous portal, Hee-sung's aura shifted. Ahead, a heavily armed party was already engaged in a desperate battle. A colossal horned rabbit loomed. These rookies lacked coordination. Their combat skills were painfully sloppy. Though the beast was a low-tier monster, its ferocity was overwhelming. 10 agonizing minutes passed before the squad finally defeated it. Hyun-sung smirked. His stats were already god-tier. Going solo was his destiny. Stealth mode engaged. He vanished into the dungeon's shadows. Elsewhere, the elite Seiwoo guild hunted horned rabbits. Soo-hee, a sharp-eyed warrior, alongside the long-haired 88, Jisoo, led their confident 4-man party. They were practically glowing with arrogance. Soo-hee had accepted a hidden quest: assassinate the Horned Rabbit King. To her, it was absolute child's play. A boss? Just another trash mob. Suddenly, their eyes locked onto a lone figure, wandering the death zone. It was Hyun-sung. Jisoo scoffed, assuming he was a pathetic stray. But Soo-hee's gaze sharpened. Her combat instincts screamed otherwise. She noticed Hyun-sung lacked a single scratch. Plus, his armor was cheap rental gear. Putting the pieces together, Soo-hee deduced his true identity: a total newbie. Meanwhile, our overpowered newbie devised a ruthless strategy. Perfect stealth. He materialized like a ghost, executing flawless backstabs before the rabbits could even squeak. The system dictates players reap massive experience and god-tier loot from high-level kills. However, if a player massacres mobs 20 times weaker than their level, the system denies them any experience points. Even the drop rate for precious mana stones plunges into the abyss. After annihilating the rabbit horde with his sneaky assassin tactics, Hyun-sung looted 5 glowing mana stones. But reality hit him like a thunderbolt. His status window still displayed level 1. He brushed it off, thinking he just needed more experience points. 5 grueling hours later, a mountain of monster corpses lay at his feet. Yet, his level remained at 1. Absolutely baffling. After slaughtering exactly 300 rabbits, the system chimed. Title acquired, Horned Rabbit Hunter, but his level stubbornly refused to budge. Unbeknownst to our hidden master, his monstrous farming speed had terrified Soo-hee. 1 strike, that was all it took to obliterate a beast. Once or twice could be dumb luck, but this was absolute mastery. He danced through the chaos, one-shotting every single monster. Even when an entire bloodthirsty horde ambushed him, he remained untouched. She had to uncover his hidden skills. Soo-hee and Jisoo intercepted him, blocking his path. Claiming to be dungeon guardians, they pressed him to reveal his true level. Sensing an annoying headache approaching, Hyun-sung kept his level 1 status a secret. and coldly rejected them. Undeterred, Soo-hee dropped a bomb. They belonged to the legendary Sae-woo Guild, backed by the almighty Sae-woo Corporation, a mega-conglomerate dominating all of South Korea. She offered a golden ticket. Show your status window and receive a VIP guild invitation. Hyun-sung's mind raced. If he revealed his screen, his maxed-out stats at level 1 would spark chaos. His godly abilities were too dangerous to expose. He flatly rejected the offer, declaring he walked a solitary path. Still, Soo-hee slipped him a shiny business card. Call this number when you wake up to reality. Ignoring her, Hyun-sung hailed a cab straight to the Blood Fox dungeon. As the name implied, it was a terrifying lair of crimson-furred beasts. Sticking to his overpowered formula, he activated stealth and delivered lethal backstabs. The foxes fell, by the dozens. Exactly like last time, after claiming 300 fox souls, the system rewarded him. Blood Fox Hunter title acquired. Yet, shockingly, his level remained hard stuck at 1. Despite the level lock, his raw power was skyrocketing to absurd heights. Calling it a day, he admired his massive Hall of Lock. Radiant mana stones. Protocol dictated that exiting players must report their loot to the guild management. Place all harvested items and mana crystals into the right side basket. Hyun-sung dumped a mountain of stones alongside an ultra-rare skill book. The appraiser's jaw dropped. The crystals alone were worth 840,000 won. The center promised to auction the rare tome. In less than 24 hours, he had casually pocketed nearly 1,000,000 won. He pondered, I need a penthouse nearby. Commuting is for low tiers. A few days later, a staggering 5,000 blood foxes had been wiped from existence. The system roared. Angel tier blood fox assassin. He was the first player in history to reach this rank. His underlying stats reached godly realms. Yet his official level was still pathetically 1. What a glitch. 10 days later, the death toll reached 10,000. System alert. Legendary blood fox assassin. The divine reward? A jaw-dropping 40 points added to all stats. He was now a walking calamity. Stealth was no longer required. He bulldozed through the dungeon, slaughtering monsters with terrifying ease. That evening, his phone buzzed. The auction center had sold his rare loot. The next morning, he arrived to claim his fortune, only to discover the center had devoured 42.2% in taxes. These capitalist vampires sucked more blood than a cursed artifact. Still, even while grinding in low-tier zones, he could easily rake in 10 million won every 10 days. Selling mana stones meant a guaranteed 100 million won monthly. At this insane rate, purchasing the legendary elixir was within reach. Growing up, his family tasted nothing but poverty. His parents sacrificed their blood and sweat to feed him and his sister. But the wheels of fate had turned. He was an awakened player now. His mother slaved away at an electronics factory, toiling until the dead of night. Tonight, Hyun-sung waited silently at the factory gates. Seeing her emerge, his heart ached. The cruel weight of survival had carved deep wrinkles into her fragile face. She looked dangerously thin. She sighed, telling him she couldn't rest yet. Her second shift at the restaurant was starting. With trembling hands, she pressed a worn banknote into his palm. Go buy yourself dinner, she urged softly. I'll cook you a feast tomorrow. Hyun-sung choked back his emotions. You haven't eaten either, let's go together. I'll eat the restaurant's leftovers. She smiled wearily. Just go home. He stubbornly refused, offering to help her work. No, you must be exhausted, she protested. Finally, he spoke. Mom, I need to tell you something. The seal is broken. I've awakened as a player. You never have to step foot in that factory or restaurant again. Panic flashed in her eyes. But hunters die every day, he smiled warmly. Safety is my absolute priority. Please, just hand in your resignation. I can't do that, she countered. Not all players strike it rich. Plus the starting gear costs a fortune. He chuckled softly. Mom, don't worry. I literally hit the jackpot. If you don't believe me, look at this, she gasped, her eyes widening in pure shock. 1 billion won? He grinned. I hunted a super rare boss drop. Selling it changed everything. Dad's medical bills and our crushing debts are history. Hearing this, tears streamed down her face. Her little boy had finally become a legend. I can finally carry this family's burdens. Later, our main character's mother worked her usual restaurant shift. She proudly brought him along to introduce him to her coworkers. Hyun-sung helped out, washing dishes and crushing kitchen errands. Her colleagues burned with jealousy over her dollar. Filial, sensible son. Thanks for the carry, Hyun-sung. Because of him, the kitchen crew clocked out early. After finishing up, the duo headed home. He had an older sister waiting there. The time for secrets was over. He revealed his sudden player awakening and the massive fortune he secured. He vowed their days of grueling labor were finished. He would carry them now. Overwhelmed, his sister burst into tears. But his mother's eyes held pure worry. She begged him to prioritize his own survival over grinding for gold. No matter his path, his family stood firmly behind him. Days later, Hyun-sung grew completely sick of farming low-tier trash mobs like horned rabbits and blood foxes. He breached a new dungeon zone. Target: vampire bats, levels 10 to 15. These tiny swarmers were notoriously brutal nightmares for Malta beginners. Without a high-level guild carry, hunting here meant certain death. Stepping into the abyss, Hyun-sung instantly spotted the nightmare lurking above. He immediately cast his mana shield. Then, he sliced his own palm, using his fresh blood as bait. Smelling the lifeblood, the entire Ga colony went rabid, dive-bombing him in a black cloud. Unfazed, Hyun-sung unleashed his fireball skill, hurling blazing destruction right into the swarm. An epic explosion vaporized dozens of beasts instantly. Safe behind his absolute shield, he smirked. Okay, maybe this fireball ability was slightly overpowered. Hyun-sung mercilessly spammed this tactic. Upon obliterating 300 targets, the system chimed. He unlocked the rare Vampire Bat Hunter title, plus an Inipast. Epic reward: the Vampire Sword. It passively leached health and mana from slaughtered foes. Though just a blade, its utility rivaled 2 divine skills combined. Massacring weak trash mobs actually yielded rare teardrops. 1 week of relentless grinding later, Hyun-sung's inventory overflowed with premium mana stones. He even looted a rare vampire cloak. Today, he took a rare break from the dungeon grind, stepping back into Dawn, the real world. He casually mentioned buying a house. His mother panicked, terrified of blowing such a massive fortune all at once when he had a future to build. Trust me, Mom, I've got this handled. He immediately closed the deal on a luxurious high-rise apartment right in Depas, the city center. Over 100 square meters of pure flex, fully furnished with premium gear. Move in. Ready for the ultimate player lifestyle. To celebrate, his mother cooked a humble but legendary home-cooked feast. The very next day, back on the dungeon grind, Hyun-sung unexpectedly crossed paths with Soo-hee. She revealed herself as the vice captain of Team 1 from the elite Soul Guild. "Can we talk?" she asked. Rewind 1 week prior. "Who in the world is this guy?" roared Soul Guild Master Ma-jun. He dumped over 10,000 mana stones, and he farmed them entirely solo. They deduced he possessed a hidden, game-breaking skill, something overpowered enough to completely shatter the level 20 system limits. "Bury this intel immediately. I'm sending recruiters to secure him. Report any leaks instantly." Understood. Guildmaster. They had to ensure Gandal's. No rival guilds caught his scent. Even their own inner circle was kept totally in the dark. Back in the present, Hyun-sung questioned how Soo-hee tracked him down. Suddenly, a mysterious man stepped from the shadows. "A pleasure, Choi Hyun-sung. Shall we find a private room?" Hyun-sung coldly brushed him off. He had zero interest in their corporate games. But the suit smirked, warning the young hunter that rejecting him would be a fatal mistake. "I am Go Jin-sung, head of Soul Guild's elite recruitment team. And why exactly are you stalking me?" "To draft you, obviously. We rule as a top 3 guild in Korea. I pass on joining your little club," Hyun-sung countered. "But, hypothetically, what's the starting bid?" "We evaluate base stats and hidden skills," Jin-sung replied. "But we guarantee a minimum signing bonus of 10 billion won, plus a 1 billion won yearly salary." Hyun-sung's eyes narrowed. This absurd payout for an untested rookie made 0 sense. He hadn't even revealed his true power yet. Was this massive bribe just for some mana stones? Impossible. A Titan guild wouldn't scramble over basic loot. Hyun-sung sensed pure venom hidden behind Jin-sung's smile. The suit demanded to see his system status window. Hard pass. Hyun-sung instantly rejected the shady offer. The next day, he challenged a brutal new dungeon instance. Targets: level 15 to 20. Red-maned dogs. Deep inside, a level 7 veteran and his party member were grinding. But their prey was an abyssal nightmare, a colossal 3-headed hound. The demonic beast instantly devoured his comrade. Blindingly fast, before the veteran could even blink, his arm was completely ripped off. The hunter finally realized this hidden boss was an absolute death sentence. He scrambled toward the exit, but his fate was sealed. Elsewhere, Hyun-sung was absolutely styling on the red hound packs. His vampire sword cleaved through them, endlessly regenerating his health and mana through its divine passive. Alongside his devastating fireball, he had unlocked a broken new ability, Magic Arrow. It sniped targets from insane ranges with terrifying absolute precision. After slaughtering 300 mutts, he claimed the red-maned dog hunter title. Fueled by his demonic blade's endless mana steal, Hyun-sung became an unstoppable, fatigue-immune grinding machine. Pushing deeper into the abyss, he spotted a skilled party clashing with the Red Hounds. Their perfect, quote, combat synergy was utterly crushing the mob wave. Suddenly the heavens ripped open. A massive, monstrous claw crashed down, instantly slaughtering the entire squad. Witnessing this horrific bloodbath firsthand, Hyun-sung felt his stomach violently twist. The raid boss that just deleted those elite players was none other than the colossal three-headed demonic hound, its hellish eyes locked onto Hyun-sung with pure murderous intent. Sweating cold bullets, he instantly popped his stealth skill to vanish. But against this apex predator, the system's invisibility was completely useless. The beast swiped, violently shredding the steel chest armor right off Hyun-sung's body. 1 millisecond slower, and it would have been an instant game over. He panic-cast Fireball, but the blazing blast only gave the Titan a mild flashbang effect. The three-headed hound was an absolute tank. Realizing his attacks lacked the power, Hyun-sung made a tactical retreat, but the beast was relentless. Its terrifying speed closed the gap in seconds, and before long, the monster caught up, landing a devastating blow to his back. Luckily, his vampire cloak absorbed the fatal impact, leaving him uninjured. Pushed to the brink, our worker opened the system shop and bought an expensive elixir. It cost an absolute fortune, but the moment he consumed it, his stats skyrocketed to insane levels. Surging with newfound power, Hyun-sung unleashed another blazing fireball, but this time, the magic pierced the monster's defenses. The inferno swallowed one of its heads, melting away half of its terrifying face. However, this demonic beast possessed an overpowered regeneration skill. As flesh knitted back together, Hyun-sung realized his fiery barrage was only temporary. He could damage the beast, but finishing it off was a different story. The deadly game of cat and mouse resumed, echoing through the dark corridors. While desperately dodging lethal fangs, our protagonist frantically scrolled the shop. He needed a heavy hitter to bypass that regeneration. Bingo, his eyes locked onto a rare-grade fire spear. This beauty wasn't just sharp, it boasted a divine flame designed to pierce magical barriers and crush enemy defenses. The price tag was utterly soul-crushing, but survival came first. Without hesitating, Hyun-sung purchased and summoned the blazing weapon. Gripping the scorching shaft, he hurled it straight at the monstrous hound. The explosive impact was glorious, as the severed head instantly detonated into a shower of gore. Thanks to the spear's anti-magic properties, the beast couldn't regenerate. Capitalizing on the opening, Hyun-sung ruthlessly obliterated the second head. But just as victory seemed close, with only one head left to destroy, his mana pool plummeted to a pathetic 4%. He couldn't summon another spear. He never expected such a top-tier weapon to drain his energy so aggressively. Meanwhile, deep inside the bloodstained dungeon, an elite strike team stumbled upon a gruesome massacre. Inspecting the massive, scorched paw prints left behind, a chilling realization washed over the veterans. This was no ordinary low-level monster. This was an apex predator. Panic spread through the ranks. Some members demanded an immediate tactical retreat, terrified of the unknown threat. However, the brave ones argued they should hold the line to warn oblivious newbies. A fierce argument erupted over their next survival move. While the guild bickered, let us return to the real boss fight. Hyun-sung stared down the remaining head. The anti-magic burn had finally worn off, spelling disaster. The demonic beast was already regenerating its shattered skulls. He had to execute it before it returned to full power. But this mutant hound possessed sinister intelligence. Recognizing the lethal threat of the blazing weapon, it actively avoided direct confrontation, shifting into a cowardly defensive stance. The monster was shamelessly stalling for time until its body was restored. Flesh and bone twisted as the missing heads almost finished regrowing. Backed into a corner, Hyun-sung had absolutely no choice left. He poured every drop of his remaining strength into one final, desperate ultimate attack. If this strike failed, he would become just another bloody snack. Tension choked the air. But luckily, his devastating finishing blow cleanly severed the final head. The monster collapsed with a massive thud. Ding! A blue system window popped up. Alert! You have successfully hunted the high-tier rare boss, Gradon. You have earned the exclusive title, Gradon Hunter. As the demonic beast's corpse dissolved into glowing digital ash, it dropped a mysterious tome. Hyun-sung's eyes widened in sheer disbelief. It was the Tome of Immortality, a unique passive skill. The skill description was absolutely broken. Passive regeneration. All physical damage will automatically heal. The user cannot die unless the brain is completely destroyed. The implications were staggering. This overpowered cheat essentially meant that as long as he protected his head, he was practically an immortal god. He had scoured the shop hundreds of times, but he had never seen an ability this ridiculously overpowered. The system classified it as a rare drop, but its value completely eclipsed epic and legendary tiers. Best of all, it was a unique, one-of-a-kind treasure in the entire world. Without wasting a single heartbeat, our hidden badass absorbed the tome. A warm golden aura erupted. Instantly, every wound on his body knitted shut. The divine passive consumed his stamina to trigger absolute cellular regeneration. With the hellish raid finally over, his combat stats breached an entirely new dimension of power. Getting chased around like prey all day was totally worth this massive power spike. This was the true reward of a solo carry. Meanwhile, in another sector of the dungeon, the Elite Player Alliance finally appeared. They had rushed over after terrifying reports of a high-tier raid boss slaughtering adventurers. Leading the rescue operation was the fiercely beautiful guildmaster, Shin Juna. With a commanding aura, Juna broadcasted an emergency order to all surviving hunters in the area. Evacuate the dungeon immediately. The death toll has just doubled. Panic seized the remaining parties. The scouts were completely baffled, unable to find a single shred of evidence. Could it really be a disaster-class anomaly? Negative, Commander. The logs only show Redmane hounds. Suddenly, a scout shouted through the comms. Wait, I have located a lone survivor. Juna's eyes sharpened. What is their vector? Negative. It is just a single combatant. He has 0 party members with him. Of course, this mysterious lone wolf was none other than our overpowered worker, Hyun-sung. Swiftly tracking his coordinates, the elite guild members intercepted him. Stepping out of the shadows, Juna approached him. Are you uninjured? Playing the role of a weak civilian, he nodded. Yes, I survived. Juna's gaze softened. You look pale. Did you encounter the anomaly? A catastrophic boss threat. That definitely should not spawn in a low-level zone. Hyun-sung's inner monologue kicked in. It was smarter to hide his insane solo kill. Feigning trauma, he lied through his teeth, claiming he merely caught a glimpse of it. Desperate for intel, Juna grabbed his shoulder. Where did it go? Is the creature nearby? Realizing she was interrogating a traumatized survivor, she pulled back. To apologize for her aggressive tone, she gave him a glass vial. His hidden gamer eyes appraised the item. Holy crap! It was a rare-grade healing elixir. This liquid gold cost a fortune, boasting insane cellular regeneration. Acting grateful, he coughed softly. There is one more detail. Regarding that nightmare roaming the tunnels, I saw a colossal, 3-headed hound draped in pitch-black shadow. I swear on my life, in all my years as a hunter, I have never witnessed an entity radiating such terrifying magic. The mutant was the size of a mansion. It sprinted down that eastern corridor. He pointed blindly into the darkness, completely buying his act. The elite strike team bowed deeply in gratitude. Without another word, they vanished. Their movement speed was absolutely blinding. Hyun-sung could not even track their afterimages, as expected of the high rankers. Honestly, it was a blessing that our overpowered main character had already slaughtered the boss, because otherwise, the dungeon's casualty rate would have hit apocalyptic levels long before the cavalry arrived. Cut back to the elites. Deep in the dungeon's core, the vanguard halted their advance. Standing menacingly before them was a dimensional gateway. Do we initiate the extraction protocol once we cross the portal? A lieutenant asked. Juna's expression darkened. Most likely, but the situation is critical. That demonic beast has acquired the taste of human flesh. Once it locks onto our mana signatures, there is no telling when it might launch an ambush. We must relay this intelligence to the association first. She paused, a frown creasing her face. Wait a second. That lone survivor we encountered earlier. Did he evacuate safely? He likely lost his entire squad and barely escaped with his life. Little did she know, her traumatized victim was doing a victory dance. Our hidden, overpowered main character was grinning ear to ear. He was ecstatic over scoring an expensive potion for absolutely free. Back in the dungeon, Juna turned to her squad. Hold your positions. Commander, where are you going? I need to check on that lone player. He makes me feel strangely restless. He is out there alone. What if he is in trouble? Her elites nodded. Then we will wait for you here. Thanks, team. Juna swiftly backtracked through the cavern, hoping to rescue Hyun-sung. But when she reached the drop zone, she found nothing. He had already cleared the gate. She sighed in relief, assuming he was safe. Cut to the very next morning. Hyun-sung was sprawled on his living room sofa. lazily enjoying a well-deserved worker's day off. He had zero intentions of moving after yesterday's massive payday. "You are home early," his mother called out, before gasping loudly. "Good heavens, what on earth happened to your face?" "Crap." During the intense raid, he forgot to heal minor scratches. "It is nothing, Mom. Just a bit of overtime fatigue," she sighed warmly. "You work far too hard. Sit tight. I will cook your favorite stamina meal." While humming a tune, the television flared to life with an emergency broadcast. "Breaking news. A massive hunter massacre occurred inside the dungeon today." His mother turned pale. "Is this why you came home early? You barely escaped." He smiled softly. "Seriously, Mom, do not worry. I was not near the danger zone." Tears welled in her eyes. "It is too dangerous. You are risking your life for us. Mom, please. I hunt because I genuinely enjoy the adrenaline of crushing monsters and shattering my limits." Following the catastrophic Cerberus incident, the Red Main dungeon was placed under indefinite lockdown. But the dark truth remained hidden. 2 elite security operatives had died right here. They couldn't even put up a fight. The tracking skills reveal a chilling truth. The beast definitely entered this zone, but there is absolutely no trace of it leaving. The tracker player, the elite tracker, Kim Dong, frowned. "Is the boss monster truly still lurking inside this dungeon? We have already turned this entire sector upside down. I honestly have no idea what is happening. Let us just keep following its residual mana trail for now." The CEOs ambushed a party of low-tier hunters, right in the middle of their grinding session here, and then it immediately repositioned. It shifted to the other side. But wait, something feels completely off. The CEOs slaughtered numerous hunters, yet one specific individual survived. He actually fought back, repelling the beast, and their fierce battle escalated into a massive clash of destructive magic. The one who fought in this chaotic zone was not a full raid party, but a single, solo player. I can still sense the terrifying remnants of high-tier fire attribute magic in the air. This unknown player must possess insanely high agility stats. To go toe-to-toe with a CEOs, he has to be an elite magic swordsman class. The monster was beaten to a pulp right here, leaving behind a massive pool of its own blood. I suspect this was the work of that magic swordsman, though it might also be a pure magic user who maxed out their agility stat. It looks like a devastating hidden skill was unleashed here. The mysterious entity completely obliterated the boss. However, there is no monster corpse to be found anywhere, meaning it instantly dissolved into mana stones and loot drops. But this makes absolutely zero sense. There are only a handful of magic swordsmen in this world, because it is an incredibly difficult, hidden class to master. Did this guy really solo farm this entire monster horde alone? Judging by the insane battle damage, this player's level must be at least 24. Absolutely no ordinary hunter could survive entering this dangerous dungeon without heavy support from a major guild. Something much deeper is going on here. If this hidden expert easily soloed the CEOs, then there is absolutely no reason for someone of his caliber to be grinding in a low-level dungeon like this. Did we find any trace of the hunter who killed the CEOs? Let me activate my sensory skills and check. But the player's tracks completely vanished the second the battle ended. It seems we are going to have a painfully hard time trying to uncover the true identity of this hidden powerhouse. Honestly, this murky dungeon is the worst possible place to track someone down. Meanwhile, Juna was desperate to find the mystery player. From that fateful day in the dungeon, she firmly believed that this anonymous hunter was a maximum-level powerhouse with godlike strength. If a ridiculously overpowered player like that existed, they had to recruit him into the association immediately. You see, the official Hunter Association operates directly under the government's strict control, while guilds act as completely independent factions. During the brutal early stages of the Awakening era, the association held absolute authority and massive influence. Their player roster was massive, boasting top-tier skills and stats. But recently, the number of elite hunters serving under the association has been dropping at an alarming rate. On the other hand, the private corporate guilds have been aggressively expanding their terrifying power. Even useless executives with zero practical knowledge about dungeons and monster ecology somehow secured high-ranking administrative positions within the Korean Hunter Association. These corrupt officials try to control awakened players by offering them pathetically low salaries, disguising their cheapness under the grand banner of patriotism. Meanwhile, the private guilds are the complete opposite of the association. They shower high-ranking players with astronomical signing bonuses, heavily funded by mega-corporations and wealthy sponsors. Because of this shift in power, the guilds have grown into massive empires today. At this very moment, our main character, Hyun Sung, was chilling in a cheap motel near the dungeon gates. Currently, his inventory was overflowing with too many high-grade mana stones. He needed to hide his massive loot to avoid drawing unwanted aggro. He could not trust a single shady hunter hanging around the dungeon entrance. He even had to dodge the suspicious glares of the inspection staff. Why do they constantly search the player's personal inventories? To check for smuggled monster parts or illegal dungeon seeds? No, the real reason for these strict checks is just to stop hunters from dodging taxes. Hyun-sung knew he desperately needed a cheat-like method to conceal the mountain of mana stones he had farmed. While browsing through the system shop, his eyes locked onto a rare active skill book. It allowed the user to tear open a sub-dimensional pocket space. The only system restriction was that this spatial inventory could not store any living, breathing creatures. Even though this spatial magic cost an absolute fortune, Hyun-sung considered it a crucial investment and bought it immediately. After instantly mastering the skill book, Hyun-sung simply waved his hand and ripped open a void in space. Peeking inside, he was shocked by the overwhelming capacity. This dimensional storage was way bigger than he expected. It was literally the size of his old study room. That night, Hyun-sung dove straight back into the dungeon to resume his endless grind. But strangely, when the dungeon administrator checked his registry, under the name Choi Hyun-sung, the staff member abruptly demanded that he scan his fingerprints for verification. He brushed it off, assuming it was just a new, annoying dungeon protocol. Once inside the instance, the hidden, overpowered protagonist went on an absolute rampage. He slaughtered the red mane dogs, pushing his kill count to a staggering 1,000. The system chimed, rewarding him with the rare title, Red Mane Dog Hunter. A mountain of glowing mana stones dropped as loot. Without hesitation, he tossed everything into his secret sub-dimensional space. He purposefully left out just a handful of low-grade stones to easily fool the strict dungeon guards outside. Meanwhile, inside a luxurious corporate skyscraper, an elite guild executive meeting was underway. Did any promising rookies manage to catch Vice Guild Master Ma Ji-hoon's attention? Yes, sir, but this hidden gem is keeping a ridiculously low profile. Gathering intel on him is a nightmare. However, I am absolutely certain he is the monster recruit we need. The captain of the second squad from the Zeus Guild leaned forward. Then, give me the full system report on this guy. The Zeus Guild's high-ranking executive smirked. He somehow entered a restricted dungeon scaled for levels 15 to 20, all within just 2 months of awakening. Wait, and he solo cleared the entire thing? Exactly, but that is not even the craziest part of his stats. I strongly suspect that this anomaly named Choi Hyun-sung has already shattered the level 20 limit break. It is not totally confirmed, but the probability is terrifyingly high. I also heard a rumor that Squad 1 tried to snipe him with a massive signing bonus. How much did they offer? A staggering 100 billion won. That is roughly $83 million. With 100 billion, we could easily buy out almost any S-rank player in the market instantly. Squad 1 arrogantly demanded to see Hyun-sung's status window first before finalizing that massive contract. But to their absolute shock, Hyun-sung rejected them flat out. You see, Ma Ji-hoon's overly cautious personality has always made him hesitate at crucial moments. Thanks to his pathetic miscalculations, our guild has lost out on countless S-class rookies, but this time, our second squad will not repeat that same idiotic mistake. We will ambush Choi Hyun-sung directly and slam down a 1 billion won signing bonus the second he agrees. Wait, do we seriously need to invest that much capital up front? It doesn't matter. We will easily make that money back tenfold the moment he signs the guild contract. If I can secure this insanely overpowered rookie, I will finally secure the guildmaster's seat. A few days later, the unstoppable Hyun-sung was still speedrunning dungeons and farming monsters like a machine. Relying on his cheat-like dimensional space, he completely bypassed the dungeon administrator's strict inspections. Those fools had absolutely no clue about the absurd number of mana stones he was actually hoarding. Normally, mobs only drop basic mana stones upon death. But if your luck stat is high enough, a rare skill book might drop, and hidden among his massive loot pile, Hyun-sung found a remarkably interesting system drop, the Regeneration Skill Book. It was a normal grade passive ability that massively boosted health recovery. This specific skill book was incredibly famous, not just among elite hunters, but even among normal civilians, because literally anyone with basic mana could easily learn it. But to his absolute shock, the moment Hyun-sung tried to absorb the skill, the glowing system window ruthlessly flashed. Skill. Absorption failed. He had never heard of or seen a system rejection like this before. What kind of buggy nonsense was this? It turned out, the true reason Hyun-sung could not learn the regeneration skill was because his body already possessed the terrifying immortality trait. The immortal grimoire aggressively devoured the item to level up its hidden skill. But exactly how much did those legendary stats increase? The main character had no clue. Hyun-sung immediately drew his steel blade. He deliberately sliced his own fingertip. In a flash of light, the bleeding wound healed and completely vanished without a trace. Yet, he felt the immortal grimoire's supreme recovery skill had barely leveled up at all. It turned out this godly artifact required a massive feast of skill books to actually evolve. But the market price for those was absolutely outrageous. A staggering 30 million won for just a single copy. Stepping out of the dark dungeon, Hyun-sung's interface suddenly rang with an unknown caller ID. He cautiously answered the device to interrogate the mysterious voice. Hello? Greetings, Hunter Choi Hyun-sung. I am the 2nd Division Commander of the Elite SEU Guild. Hyun-sung's eyes turned cold. Did I not explicitly forbid you from contacting me unless you agreed to my absolute conditions? You are referring to the 100 billion won signing bonus, correct? We accept your terms. Let us meet up and sign the contract immediately. Are you being completely serious? Deadly serious. When astronomical wealth is on the line, our guild never bluffs. I am currently mid-hunt in a dangerous zone, so a physical meeting is impossible. Can you forward the official contract to me digitally beforehand? Naturally. I will transmit the file to your system right away. Excellent. I will contact you once I finish reviewing the clauses. Hyun-sung disced it and instantly received the document, directly from the SEU Guild. Our hidden, overpowered main character immediately brought it to a top-tier hunter attorney for a brutal authenticity check. The lawyer appraised it as a highly lucrative deal. The corporate welfare benefits listed here are undeniably generous. However, several toxic loopholes could be ruthlessly exploited if they harbor malicious intent. For example, if you supposedly tarnish the guild's pristine reputation, everything can be instantly terminated. And the judge for this clause? The guildmasters themselves. It is utter garbage. Furthermore, the agreement can be voided if they subjectively claim your combat prowess is inadequate. Another blatant trap card. I do not know your initial signing bonus, but the breach penalty is catastrophic. If you violate their rules or attempt to unilaterally walk away from this guild, you will owe 10 times the original payment. The lawyer offered a ruthless counter-strategy. Demand a penalty ratio that equally matches the advance payment. Force them to delete every single one of those predatory clauses, and you suffer 0 losses while securing the bag. Suddenly, an executive from the 1st Division called his line. Hyun-sung politely excused himself from the lawyer's office to entertain the rival faction. Hunter Choi Hyun-sung, let us finalize this transaction. Do you accept our 50 billion won offer? Hyun-sung scoffed at the lowball. That is mere pocket change. The absolute minimum amount I demand is 100 billion won, nothing less. The recruiter sighed heavily. Please consider the harsh reality. Even for a massive titan like the SEU Guild, dropping that kind of astronomical cash is a terrifying financial gamble. I bled internally just to authorize this 50 billion. Hyun-sung played his cards perfectly. I shall contemplate your desperate plea. But first, can I see the draft? Transmit your official contract right now. Understood. Sending it to your interface immediately. Returning to the desk, Hyun-sung slammed the second document down for the lawyer to analyze. Was this treacherous trap written by the exact same guild that sent the first file? Precisely. How did you detect that so fast? Because the foundational framework of both scrolls is entirely identical, only the compensation values differ slightly. It holds marginally less venom, but the core trap remains unchanged. Why would a singular corporate empire issue 2 conflicting recruitment offers? The lawyer adjusted his glasses. It heavily reeks of a bloody civil war within their ranks. The executives are desperately fighting to claim your overpowered potential. Sending completely uncoordinated agreements proves the factional conflict tearing their headquarters apart is absolutely catastrophic. The lawyer smirked, advising Hyun-sung to stall the negotiations to maximize his absolute profit. Returning to his personal stronghold, our worker-turned-hunter hacked the system to research every dark secret surrounding the SEU Guild. His deep-dive investigation revealed a juicy truth. Guild Master Ma Ji-hoon and Vice Master Jung Sung-gu were bloodthirsty rivals. A wicked grin formed. Hyun-sung decided to brutally exploit their hatred and corner them both. First, he dialed the 2nd Division. That bounty is an insult. I want an upgrade to 300 billion. Naturally, the furious commanders rejected this pure madness, but the moment he leaked the 1st Division's desperate interest, absolute panic struck. Suddenly, their endless treasury opened wide. They blindly promised to meet whatever God-tier demands Hyun-sung wanted, swearing to crush the First Division's offer. Hyun-sung ruthlessly repeated this exact same psychological warfare on the First Division. Finally, the master manipulator secretly recorded both explosive audio logs and transmitted the files to both warring sides. Having ignited the bomb, he tossed his phone into the trash and vanished into the shadows. One dramatic month passed since that chaotic voice drop. The guild master and vice master rallied their loyalists, completely shattering the massive guild into two hostile camps. Desperate for victory, they obsessively hacked into every dungeon record network to track down the elusive Hyun-sung. But his stealth stats were simply too high. Blinded by pure greed, the two rival factions continuously sabotaged each other's investigations. Internal communication within the mighty guild completely collapsed into chaos, and the sole architect of this catastrophic disaster? He was missing in action. Meanwhile, our hidden, overpowered main character was busy slaughtering monsters inside a forgotten dungeon, deep in some god-forsaken wasteland ignored by society. Top players avoided this hellhole because the beasts were brutally tough, and the legendary loot drops were non-existent. The native species here were grotesque, toadmen, vile creatures that hunted in relentless swarms. But with his stats maxed out to level 999, Hyun-sung was a god. These amphibious runts were nothing. A few casual sword flashes, some devastating fireballs, and he effortlessly reaped their miserable lives. While checking his epic loot, a system alert shattered the peace. A malicious customer complaint. This specific interdimensional buyer had hoarded a massive stock of his Rabbit brand batteries. Now, this internet troll was blackmailing him for a 50% discount, threatening endless system reports. So, this fool dared to sabotage a legendary merchant's rising business empire? Let us test out a divine punishment. Light years away, on a completely different planet, sat the arrogant bastard who manipulated the market, the sole architect of those utterly toxic, unreasonable complaints. His alias was Crow. As an awakened being, Crow rapidly dominated his dimension, rising as an apex predator on his home world. However, to unlock transcendent, system-exclusive skills, demanded astronomical achievement points. No matter how fiercely he grinded through blood and sweat, his cosmic bank account was always empty. That was when Crow targeted Hyun-sung's mysterious interdimensional shop. Stalking it from the dark, Crow arrogantly assumed this merchant was bleeding his own life force to forge these alien artifacts on his primitive planet. Seeking to exploit this absolute weakness, he drained the entire inventory of rabbit batteries and exotic tech. Crow's master plan? Weaponize the review system. Bombard the seller with malicious strikes until the digital storefront was permanently crippled, earning a brutal 3-month trading ban. Once unbanned, the villain would repeat this dirty extortion loop endlessly. His goal was to financially suffocate the naive Earthling, forcing him into absolute submission. Slashing prices to zero out of fear of the system's banhammer, Crow planned to hoard the cheap stock, flipping it across the galaxy for massive profits. The ultimate long con. In the end, he would steal the supply chain and become the sole merchant god. But this cosmic fool lacked one crucial piece of intel. On modern Earth, standard batteries were practically worthless. Every single day, Hyun-sung could export millions of units without breaking a sweat. Crow dumped his entire life savings to empty the warehouse. Yet, the Earthling's inventory never dropped below infinity, rendering the alien's strategy completely useless. Ultimately, his wallet broke first. A primitive savage trying to out-capitalism a modern Earthworker? Pathetic. Hyun-sung laughed at the absolute audacity, calling him a mere duckling. Meanwhile, as his daily sales of existing artifacts skyrocketed to the moon, Hyun-sung prepared to flood the market with second-hand junk too. At that exact moment, a stunning demonic noble was browsing his digital storefront. Spotting his 32-inch flat screen and elite gaming setup, the spectral demoness instantly claimed it, completely abandoning her old handheld console. Suddenly, Hee-sung's phone buzzed with an unknown number. It was his mother. Hee-sung? There is a man named Se-daeung from the Soul Guild here. He claims to be a team leader for their second support division. He is standing right at our front door. Should I hand him the phone? Hee-sung's eyes narrowed. No, Mom. I will handle him myself. Do not open that door under any circumstances. I will explain everything later. Hanging up, he dialed the guild rat. This is Choi Hee-sung. The voice smirked. Ah, Hee-sung. Finally. What the hell are you playing at? Stay away from my mother. Whoa, calm down, kid. We are just deeply concerned about your father's failing health. This is too massive for a kid to decide alone. I just wanted to enlighten her. Hee-sung's voice turned to ice. I am the contract signer, not her. A choice this monumental requires family input. Kid, you sent me a total slave contract, and you dare preach about family? What exactly is wrong with our generous terms? Are you playing dumb right now? My lawyer tore that garbage document apart. It is rigged with deadly traps. The scout scoffed. Those are merely standard safety clauses, just in case you lack true talent. Prove your worth, and you are golden. Hee-sung gritted his teeth. If only the contract lacked that one fatal flaw. Forced status window reveals were a deal-breaker. His hidden overpowered stats had to remain a secret. If that is your entire pitch, then we are done here. I am burning this number immediately. Do not bother calling back. His aura flared with pure menace. And if you ever approach my mother again, I will personally end you. The scout slammed his fist against his desk. That arrogant brat. He turned to his tracker. Did you pinpoint his exact coordinates? Target locked, sir. Deploy the Dark Guild operatives immediately. Do not kill him. A sinister grin stretched across his face. I will push him to the brink of utter despair, until he comes crawling to us on his knees. Oblivious to the trap, Hee-sung re-entered the abyss. The dungeon hunting grind never stopped. His kill count skyrocketed. 1,000 toadmen slaughtered. A system prompt chimed. Title acquired. Night had fallen by the time he emerged. But hiding deep within the alley's shadows, predators lay in wait. Is that our prey? Confirmed. Boss. Move in. Keep it clean and quiet. Instead of heading home, the worker bee pushed harder. He dove straight into an elite goblin raid. Activating stealth, he slipped past the massive gatekeepers like a ghost. Then, a storm of magic arrows and blazing fireballs rained down. The monsters were instantly wiped out. But while harvesting the rare loot drops, his high-level senses tingled. Come. A gang of rogues stepped forward. Who the hell do you think you are, punk? Stealing our precious hunting grounds? They sneered viciously. Hee-sung remained completely unfazed. I paid the standard dungeon entry fee, just like you did. So what is the problem? We grind this zone every single day. This is our absolute territory, and since you poached our premium experience points, you owe us a massive monostone tax. They drew their gleaming weapons. Strip off your gear and walk away. Hee-sung sighed. Classic low-level player killers, just like the toxic trolls on the forums. You are making a fatal mistake, he warned coldly. The thugs just laughed with absolute disgust. Listen here, you clueless little noob. Let me educate you about dungeon law. Modern firearms and communication devices are dead zones in here. The outside world cannot save you. Any unfortunate accidents, like a player getting brutally murdered, it just gets chalked up as a monster casualty. And predators like us, we absolutely thrive in this lawless abyss. We feast on the gear of weaklings like you. Dead men tell no tales after all. Since your tiny brain cannot comprehend our threat, we will just demonstrate. With a bloodthirsty roar, they charged at him. But Hee-sung was no fragile beginner. His relentless solo leveling had forged an absolute monster. Years of flawless combat mastery allowed him to completely outclass these trash mobs. He dismantled them with terrifying speed. The long-haired boss watched his raid party crumble. Realizing this solo player was a hidden beast, he finally stepped into the ring. Time to end this tutorial. I am going to execute you personally. But first, I will sever that arrogant arm. Steel clashed in a shower of sparks. The boss was dangerously overpowered. Unlike his weak grunts, this guy was a true veteran. His attack speed and raw destructive force completely overwhelmed Hee-sung's base stats. Without his trusted energy shield absorbing the brutal shockwaves, he would have been sliced to ribbons. But what on earth? Put this elite kill squad on his tail? He needed to tactically retreat, right now. Seizing a split-second blind spot, he manifested a blazing monospear. The massive explosion shattered their formation. Hee-sung vanished into the chaotic smoke. The boss emerged, his long hair reduced to smoldering ash. You pathetic, crawling insect. I will butcher you. Blinded by blistering fury, he gave chase. He unleashed a barrage of lethal sword waves. Hee-sung's HP was in extreme danger. But just as the fatal strike descended, a mysterious heroine crashed onto the battlefield. With a single, devastating slash, she annihilated the boss. Hee-sung froze, utterly stunned by her god-tier stats. What kind of glitch was this? Greetings, Hunter Choi Hee-sung. She smiled politely. I apologize for our chaotic first encounter. Hee-sung's eyes widened. That face was incredibly familiar. His memory finally clicked. She was the rogue player from the Cerberus raid, the mysterious VIP who gifted him that ultra-rare healing potion. He offered a respectful nod. I owe you my life against those player killers. Actually, the fault is entirely mine, she confessed. I have been observing you from the shadows, ever since you initiated this dungeon quest. These scumbags are wanted red name criminals. Hee-sung crossed his arms. So you were using me as bait to farm their bounty? Gathering evidence on their guild's dirty work? She chuckled. Wrong. I was evaluating your true combat potential. She held up her elite badge. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Yuna, Chief Inspector of the Hunter Association. My target was never this pathetic trash guild. I deployed to this goblin raid entirely for you. What exactly is your game here? Let us clear this dungeon first. Then, we negotiate. Hee-sung nodded slowly. You mentioned their dark history. Have they executed ambushes like this before? Precisely. Her gaze darkened. We lack concrete system evidence, but multiple raid parties have vanished entirely. This guild is the prime suspect, behind those gruesome disappearances. Officially, they are missing in action. Unofficially, cold-blooded player assassinations. They were not randomly farming me, Hee-sung deduced. Someone placed a very specific hit on my head. But why? That is the ultimate quest we must solve. Yuna casually strolled over to the defeated boss and violently jammed her spear into his ribs. A pathetic scream echoed as his HP dropped. His fake unconscious act was instantly shattered. You should have revived while I was feeling merciful, she hissed. Now tell me, who ordered the hit on Hunter Choi? What the hell are you talking about? I was just protecting my party from these violent maniacs. Is it really okay for an association member to beat down a high-level player like this? You even attacked me while I was unconscious. I swear, I will report this massive incident to the media and the police. Wait, how do you know I am with the player association? I thought you were knocked out. Are you stupid? Do you not know where we are right now? This is a dungeon. Whatever I do to you in here, no evidence will be left behind. Do not tell me you actually think Mr. Choi Hyun-sung, the man you just attacked, would report me to the authorities? If you do not want this dark dungeon to become a mass grave for your guild, keep your mouth shut and follow my orders. Your life is only spared as long as you remain useful to me. Are you seriously threatening me right now? An official association member is actually threatening a normal player? You absolute scum. It seems your tiny brain still has not grasped the current situation. Mr. Choi Hyun-sung, could you give us a moment alone? Sure thing. Take all the time you need. While you step away, please ensure none of these rats escape. It would be a massive headache if they did. Boss, I was just joking. I made a huge mistake. Please spare me. What in the world were those thugs actually targeting? Could the true mastermind lurking in the shadows be the So Guild? I need to grow exponentially stronger. This is the cruel reality of dungeons. I cannot even fully trust the player association. I foolishly believed I could easily solve everything once I awakened as a player. A few intense minutes later, Juna finished forcefully interrogating the bandit leader. I heard these filthy mercenaries took dirty money from the So Guild. They planned to assassinate you and wipe all traces of the crime. Thank the heavens I intercepted these assassins before they could strike, and I successfully secured the absolute proof of their vile crimes. Now we possess the perfect weapon to obliterate the So Guild. That very night, the criminal syndicate was dragged in chains and handed over to the police. Those villains will finally face the full, crushing weight of the law. The next morning, Hyun-sung received an urgent summons to Juna's private office. Pardon me, but why did you suddenly call me here? It is because of the terrifying Cerberus incident. Wait, how did you know I was grinding in the goblin dungeon? I reviewed the gate logs. Is that not completely illegal? Of course not. The Player Association holds absolute authority to monitor those logs, and we possess the right to intervene when danger strikes. However, only elite authorized members are granted access. This was a strictly unofficial shadow investigation, so I covertly tailed you into the dungeon to properly evaluate your combat skills with my own eyes. I deeply apologize for not jumping into the fray immediately when the ambush happened. So, you just wanted to brutally test my absolute limits? Spot on. I became absolutely certain after witnessing your overpowered abilities. You are the legendary hunter who slaughtered Cerberus. Does secretly hunting a boss monster and hiding the loot make me a criminal? Absolutely not. The real reason the association desperately tracked you down is to bestow a massive reward upon you. Furthermore, we have an epic proposition for you. Is this a recruitment offer? Look, I have absolutely no desire to become a corporate dog for any guild. I completely expected you to say that. But please, listen to these god-tier conditions first. Regarding your signing bonus, we will pay you 100 billion won. matching the Sao Guild exactly. You will also unlock God-tier VIP privileges as an official elite player working directly under the mighty player. Association. Naturally, all expensive weapon rental fees will be completely waived. Let me guess, one of the hidden catches is forcibly exposing my personal status window to you? Not at all. We simply need you to pass a basic verification test. It is a tremendously easy trial. To activate my appraisal skill, you will first be asked if you consent. Please accept the contract of truth. System prompt. The contract of truth skill is now taking effect. Now, just relax your mind and answer my questions honestly. Did you truly awaken your powers just 3 months ago? Yes. Do you possess the forbidden knowledge to shatter the level 20 restriction rule? No. I know your true level is around 140. Why continuously hunt in such low-level garbage dungeons? You possess a divine unique skill, do you not? You are bound by the system to answer this. Is there a hidden reason you slaughter low-tier monsters? Yes. Can you magically transfer this overpowered unique skill to another player? No. Have you been heavily abusing your unique skill to cheat the absolute level 20 cap restriction? Yes. Excellent work. The interrogation is officially over. Will we ever have to endure this annoying process again? I highly doubt we will need a repeat performance. I am out of questions, because your aura proved you only spoke the absolute truth. So, you really are hiding a mythical, unique skill. Wait, does that mean you also possess a god-tier unique skill of your own? Naturally, I do, but I am strictly forbidden from revealing its true nature to you. Shocking. So I am not the sole chosen one with a unique skill in this world? Do not let disappointment crush your spirit. A unique skill can only ever be wielded by one single destined master. Furthermore, every single awakened player hiding a unique skill currently reigns at the absolute top of the global leaderboards. Does that mean Juna is also a supreme top-ranking ranker? I totally thought she was just a fancy corporate manager. There are deeply classified secrets regarding elite players who violently dodge the media. Even if you are a formidable high-level player, you cannot possibly uncover every hidden truth in this world, especially when the identities of those wielding unique skills are fiercely protected under the strict national security laws. Are you really sure it is safe to leak such classified intel to me? Since our fates are about to be tightly bound on the same ship, it is perfectly fine. Hold on, I never once agreed to officially join your association. Well, that makes things quite dangerously complicated. From the exact second you confessed to owning a unique skill, your illusion of choice completely vanished. What the hell does that mean? You do not need to look so terrifyingly serious. This simply means your recruitment goes far beyond a standard guild invitation. You are being offered the ultimate exclusive contract straight from the national player association. These god-tier conditions are literally impossible to find outside of a supreme national-level contract. The mandatory binding clauses are surprisingly light. The danger pay for emergency subjugation raids is multiplied several times over the market average. Not only do you secure massive disaster response bonuses, but your absolute rights to monastones and exclusive trading privileges are perfectly guaranteed by law. However, there is one incredibly toxic clause staring back at me. Are not these so-called lifetime contracts basically just glorified slave contracts? Wait, are you telling me every single player under the association is forcibly bound by these absurdly heavy conditions? Of course not. If we offered these god-tier perks to every random hunter, our entire treasury would instantly go bankrupt. The only reason we are risking these legendary terms is strictly because of your infinite potential, Hyun-sung. Because of your unique skill, even when you massacre absolute trash-tier mobs. Your combat stats endlessly skyrocket and precious monastones constantly drop. This horrifying truth means your leveling speed is absolutely infinite. This is our once-in-a-lifetime chance to recruit a hidden monster destined to become the absolute strongest player in the entire world. Only a complete fool would penny pinch during an epic investment like this. In that case, do I have the absolute right to tweak this contract slightly? Does this concern the binding duration of your service? Tell me, do you have any idea exactly how many supreme beings in this world possess a unique skill? I do not know the precise hidden numbers, but according to heavily guarded government, before you appeared, Choi Hui-sung, less than 80 people knew the truth. I was Korea's sole unique skill holder. I know a lifetime contract seems heavy. It might not suit you perfectly, but we cannot let a rare talent slip away. Korea desperately needs your unique skill. We refuse to let you fall into the hands of rival guilds or dark syndicates. That is exactly why we demand a lifetime binding. Please, Share your thoughts freely. Tell me exactly what you desire. I want a strict 1-year term. Forget about binding me for life. You know that is utterly impossible. Then lower the deposit immediately. For someone in the top 40, 10 billion won is far too steep. Let us settle on a 2-year contract, along with a 20 billion won deposit. After 2 years, if we maintain mutual trust. Once the term expires, the player association remains my top priority for renewal. But if you reject this final offer, I will walk away from this association completely. Are you planning to seek asylum overseas? No. I just distrust the player association, and I absolutely despise the idea of eternal chains. I will not be bound forever. But surely you see the massive benefits. The perks heavily outweigh your duties, hundreds of billions paid up front. Of course, such unimaginable wealth is incredibly tempting. But I refuse to be blinded by greed. I will not trade my entire future for instant cash. What I truly need right now is simply a safe haven to grow. I do not have the final say here. I must report to the higher-ups immediately. Could you wait a moment? Take your time. We accept your bold terms. However, we have one absolute condition. If foreign player associations or elite guilds approach you, you must immediately report their offers. The Korean Association must know first. No matter what happens, the binding contract is officially signed. I look forward to our partnership. Likewise, first, you must exchange your current items. All your gear is completely rented from the system, correct? They truly possess an endless armory of artifacts. As an official, direct member, can I borrow their absolute best equipment? Rental tiers strictly depend on player ranks, but naturally, your unique status makes you an exception, while your gear undergoes intense repairs. Let me explain our system. Check your new deployment orders, Hui-sung. You have been assigned to the elite inspection team. Their core mission is handling dangerous dungeon anomalies and policing rogue players. I can easily clear low-tier dungeons, but facing mid-tier abysses? That might exceed my current apparent limits. Do not worry, Hui-sung. We know your official rank. We will carefully consider your combat deployments. Just keep me updated whenever you hunt. Inform me of your target dungeon locations. I will register quests at the nearest branch. Take this black card for your housing expenses. It is an exclusive, off-the-books perk. Are you sure about bypassing the system, giving me this much special treatment? Officially? Absolutely not. If the other guild executives found out, their jealousy would cause an absolute uproar. So keep this shadow perk a strict secret. Thank you. I must secure your loyalty by any means. That is the only way you will renew in 2 years. My hidden work here is finally done. Your elite insurance is active. Treat this luxury vehicle as your own. Understood. I will see you later. Upon reflection, 2 years is terrifyingly short. You seem deeply disappointed by this outcome, sir. Upset that we missed the lifetime binding? Of course I am furious. We should have enslaved his potential at any cost. You merely wanted to exploit his overwhelming power. Do not test me, President. Even in my own twisted case. Did you pay me mere pennies just because of my eternal contract? You trapped me in the exact same way. Is that not exactly what you did initially? If I had stayed silent like a lamb, you would never have upgraded my terms. I should have demanded a short-term deal. Just like Choi Hui-sung brilliantly pulled off. Your awakening was our very first anomaly. If you had not manifested your unique skill, we would have been completely blind to them. Then you should have treated my loyalty better. We promised you tremendous authority in return. We drafted Hui-sung's contract entirely based on your feedback. Because you interfered, you completely ruined our ultimate scheme. If you had not meddled in the negotiations, we would have trapped him in a lifetime deal for a mere 100 billion won. If you had pushed that slave contract, the intel would have definitely leaked. Foreign superpowers would have hunted him down. Are you threatening me? You explicitly stated. You would expose us to rival factions. When did I ever claim that? I merely suggested it was highly probable. Honestly, without your relentless sabotage, we would have secured his lifetime servitude anyway. You are an absolute snake. Did I do this for my own greed? I did this to protect our nation's future. Transfer complete. 1 billion won wired directly to mother's account. That massive fortune secures everything. It instantly covers father's staggering hospital bills and guarantees 10 years of absolute financial freedom. Now I must acquire recovery-type skill books. My book of immortality is starving for energy. I need to feed it constantly to evolve it. Let us see what system items sell best. These system conversions are incredibly lucrative. Gaming consoles and notebooks fetch high points. Even luxury cosmetics and perfumes have massive market value. Surprisingly, premium watches are gold mines too. The perfect filial duty. Welcome to the premium secondhand appliance store. How is the camping battery stock looking? Everything is perfectly prepared for your grand order, sir. Massive energy reserves are ready. All batteries are completely fully charged. Excellent work. Can you secure this massive quantity next time? Absolutely. We will ensure maximum power. Please put your complete trust in our services. The conversion points were discounted via direct payment. Contact us immediately for further bulk orders. Time to consume every single drop of this energy. Keep exactly 3 system points in reserve. Lowest tier elixirs cost a staggering 5 million points. High tier divine elixirs demand 10 million each. To forcefully break through and push all my stats straight to the 200 milestone, I need approximately 5 billion system points. The remaining 5 billion? Poured straight into feeding the Book of Immortality. Hello, Huisong? This is Sun Ah speaking. I finally secured the absolute proof. I filed a criminal report against the executives. The Soul Guild's elite directors are completely busted. Despite their deep-rooted connections with corrupt prosecutors, they cannot escape the system's justice this time. Their entire corrupt empire is crumbling down. Surprisingly, the prosecutors were incredibly cooperative today. Is it because of an internal faction war? Exactly. The power balance is shattering. Guild Master Ma Ji-hoon did not block us. He actually handed over the secret ledgers. He wanted his rivals purged immediately. What is the fate of the arrogant Young Sung-gu? The official arrest list remains unreleased. But that bastard's arrogant days are definitely over. The damning evidence for dungeon murder and robbery has been absolutely confirmed by the authorities. Turn on the news channel right now. A massive dungeon murder scandal involving a major guild. Assistant Guildmaster Jung Sung-gu has officially fallen. He was stripped of all authority, expelled from the elite guild in pure disgrace, jointly captured by the police and the association. His absolute ruin was entirely inevitable. Even his loyal lapdogs have completely betrayed him. They abandoned his sinking faction instantly. He reaped the dark storm he blindly sowed. Thank you for executing this flawless purge. Not at all. I only regret not destroying him sooner. I will treat you to a meal next time as thanks. Ah, I almost forgot about my skill books. This is the absolute final one. I blew my entire contract bonus on this. System alert. Passive skill, Book of Immortality, has evolved from unique to unique epic tier. Ha ha ha. It finally leveled up. Condition updated. The host cannot perish unless both heart and brain are utterly obliterated simultaneously. All other damage will auto-regenerate. The skill can still evolve. Reaching epic tier, burned through a fortune. How much gold will legendary tier devour? The next day, Huizong arrived at the inspection squad to start his new job. So, today is your very first shift, right? Nice to meet you. I am Takun. Greetings. I am Choi Huisong. Just wait right here for a moment. Someone will come to brief you. If you enter dungeons below level 100, you will partner with Surang. Lee Surang is 25 years old. She is currently hovering around level 100, just like you, Huisong. Surang, introduce yourself. Why so rude? Well, he looks way younger than me, so I figured I would just speak casually. If I offended you, my bad. This girl clearly holds some kind of grudge against me. I apologize. She is usually not this extremely hostile. It is fine, but I am actually not younger than you, Miss Surang. In fact, you should be calling me Appa. I am 27 this year. Oh my god, you look drastically younger than your real age. I get that a lot. I am so sorry, Huisong. No worries. If an emergency dispatch happens, you will deploy with her. I really wanted to assign you a different partner, but she is our only sub-level 100 operative. Wait, if she is under level 100, my hidden stats already surpass a level 200 player. Soloing these zones would be a complete joke to me. Here is your desk. When off duty, you can freely rest, study skill books, or basically do whatever you want. Man, I definitely overslept today. About 4 hours straight. This guild looks modest outside, but their internal facilities are top tier. Should I just sign up for the night? Shift and sleep here permanently? Move out. Follow me. Now. A wild anomaly has been reported. A monster vastly exceeding the dungeon limit has spawned. But are we the only Porf? 2 hunters deploying? Just the 2 of us is plenty. Inside the level 60 Horned Turtle dungeon, a level 80 anomaly has crashed the gate. A rogue werewolf. So far, we have 0 casualties. But that is only for now. We usually get anomaly alerts from level 50 zones. Players who secure their first official class after hitting the level 50 milestone usually become security guards for low-rank gates. But dungeons above level 50 lack stationed guards. The critical issue here is that these mid-tier players have grown utterly accustomed to being constantly babysat. So, when a sudden crisis erupts and no high-rank guards are around to save them, they completely lose their ability to rationally handle the slaughter. Why do you look so incredibly thrilled? We get a massive hazard pay bonus for emergency dispatches. We have to grind anyway, so extra cash is an absolute win. Huisong and Surang breached the Horned Turtle Gate. Instantly, Surang activated her innate signature skill, a brutal beast transformation that granted her the lethal predatory instincts of an apex. Carnivore, did you just morph into a cat girl? I am not a mere cat. I am a snow leopard. Oh, my bad. I totally thought you were a feral kitten. If you lag behind, I will abandon you. In the dust. Her agility is terrifying, running on all fours. The snow leopard senses are terrifyingly acute. In mere seconds, Surang pinpointed the exact coordinates of the rogue. Werewolf. Unbelievable. With a single, devastating swipe, she flawlessly reaped the beast's life. Her striking speed was so godlike that even Huisong barely tracked it. Surang suddenly turned to Huisong, declaring the bloodbath was far from over. Her enhanced scent detected a massive incoming horde. That scout was not alone. The beast she just slaughtered had successfully summoned its entire vicious pack. Does this gate crashing happen frequently? No, but when it rarely occurs, the very name and threat level of the dungeon mutate. First, we need to completely befriend, exterminate this mob, then file the raid report. Over here, Huisong casually eradicated the grunt wolves. But Surang was locked in mortal combat with the terrifying werewolf king. She was completely outmatched. The alpha's fangs brutally tore into her neck. By the time Huisong arrived, Surang was bleeding out drastically. He instantly cast a divine healing skill, forcibly stopping the massive hemorrhage. Suddenly, the alpha materialized from the shadows, launching a lethal sneak attack. But Huisong merely flicked his blade, cleanly severing its demonic claws. You could have easily dominated this fight from the start, but you arrogantly waited for my arrival? You sacrificed your loyal minions just to stall for time? I will crush every single one of you. Without hesitation, Huisong flawlessly chained all his devastating attack skills simultaneously. Magic arrows ruthlessly pierced through the entire remaining pack. Only the boss survived, relying on its blindingly fast evasion stats to dodge the absolute carnage. Impressive reflexes. You are vastly superior to your trash minions. Let us see if you can evade this rare tier execution. The alpha desperately attempted to flee, but Huisong instantly trapped it within an inescapable ice wall absolute zero domain. Finally, the monstrous boss was utterly annihilated. Let us check the boss loot drop. What in the world is this grotesque item? Rare tier, the heart of the werewolf king. Effect, grants alpha transformation for 60 minutes. During this awakened state, strength, agility, and stamina stats are boosted by a massive 30%. However, once the duration completely expires, all base stats suffer a permanent 10% penalty. What absolute garbage. First, I need to evacuate Surang back to base. I heard Surang was mauled by the boss. Is she going to survive? All external wounds have already completely vanished. But just to be absolutely safe, we should admit her to a high-tier healing ward. Thank you so much. If Huisong had not been there, this would have been a catastrophic wipeout. I am part of this strike team too. Protecting my comrades is basic duty. The very next day, Surang's critical injuries were completely healed. Thank you so much, Huisong, for saving my people life. Do not mention it. We are guildmates after all. Honestly, I initially assumed you were some arrogant, spoon-fed Cheeble heir. Almost no rookie hunter raids equipped with insanely expensive rare tier artifacts. The truth is, I was a grueling manual laborer right up until my awakening day. Oh, it sounds like your financial background was incredibly grim. My father's health was severely something the painta, deteriorating. He was permanently hospitalized, and I had to grind endless backbreaking jobs just to barely cover his medical debt. Actually, the higher-ups issued a highly classified, unofficial mandate, demanding we treat you with absolute VIP care. Is that so? That is exactly why I mistook you for a wealthy elite. Looks like I was completely misunderstood as a spoiled brat born with a golden spoon. It seems Captain Yuna is paying far too much attention to me. Wait, you personally know Captain Yuna? That is correct. She is the one who directly scouted me. It really seems like you are the most legendary rookie in this entire guild. If the captain herself scouted you, I should go deliver these raid reports before sleeping. Huisong, I am genuinely deeply sorry. I was completely disrespectful due to my own foolish prejudice. I can honestly admit I misjudged your entire character. The truth is, the last elite partner I was deployed with, a tragic incident, occurred. What exactly happened? A high-ranking executive's arrogant son acted recklessly, dragging our entire strike team into a deadly dungeon trap. However, he effortlessly escaped any form of systemic punishment, while my innocent teammates paid the ultimate, bloody price. That concludes today's legendary recap. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, hunters, stay safe.